Coming in at number 10, Mariah Carey. My sweet Mariah, doth thy whistle tones bring comfort and joy to all? Well, maybe not. Mariah Carey has recently been somewhat of a meme after footage of some of her live show fumbles have surfaced. In the footage, you can see Carey failing to lip sync to her songs, trying to go off the book and sing herself, and even failing to hit her signature whistle tone. Not the whistle tone! The fun doesn't stop there because back in 2017 at her live New Year's Eve special, audience members witnessed as her earpiece stopped working and Miss Mariah just froze. She walked off the stage and the audience was not impressed. Since these last few mishaps over the years, she's lost more and more credit as a singer, and honestly, I kind of feel bad for her. She was such a star back in the day, but after years of hitting those high notes, I think it's time that Mariah retires. At number 9, Mark Salling. Remember Glee? Unfortunately, I do. Ever since the show came to an end, we've seen drama here and there with some of the former Glee cast, but I don't think any of them have come close to the scandals surrounding Mark Salling. Glee's Noah Puckerson was arrested in December 2015 for possession and distribution of child imagery, just 9 months after Glee took its final bow. According to police, they found a laptop containing compromising images of children between the ages of 5 and 12. 5 and 12, people! He was quickly arrested, and news broke pretty quickly, and as a result, he was dropped from his upcoming project. After speaking with lawyers and the prosecution, Salling agreed to take a plea deal but committed suicide before the sentencing. His body was found in a canyon in Los Angeles in January of 2018. I loved Glee back in the day, but after this, I have no respect for Mr. Salling or his character. Coming in hot at number 8, we have Kathy Griffin. It all started with the president. Kathy Griffin has always been a controversial comedian, but in 2017, Griffin took it a little too far when she posted a picture of her holding a blood-soaked model of Donald Trump's head. Now, when news broke on this, she claimed that it was only a harmless joke, but unfortunately, some people didn't see it that way. Quickly, Griffin was dropped from CNN, where she hosted as a New Year's broadcast every year, and she was even dropped by Squatty Potty. Shout out to the realist Squatty Potty, I miss you. Kathy's backlash continued as her comedy tour was cancelled and she lost jobs, money, and even her closest friends and family. Needless to say, one picture cost her everything. At number 7, Lindsay Lohan. We all know Lindsay from her late 90s and early 2000s work. From Parent Trap to Mean Girls, Lohan was no stranger to the silver screen, but in 2007 her hot streak hit the brakes. In May of that year, Lindsay was taken to hospital after a car accident, and after she was discharged, more information came out about that accident. Just before the accident, she was discharged from a rehab center for undisclosed problems. I'm pretty sure that undisclosed problems means a whole crap ton of problems. Anyway, following the crash, she was charged with a DUI, possession of that special white no-no snow, and even a hit and run. This followed up with more charges later, as well as a few more unsuccessful trips to rehab. Please, Lindsay, get some help because this is so not fetch. For number 6, we've got Amanda Bynes. Now, speaking of child stars, former child star Amanda Bynes has been in and out of the spotlight for many years following her time in the media, but what really put the nail in her coffin was her Twitter spree/meltdown back in 2012. Her online rampage included many memorable tweets, such as those pertaining to a specific rapper doing unspeakable things to her nether regions, as well as referring to celebrities like Rihanna, Miley Cyrus, and Jay-Z as ugly. But the fun doesn't stop there. Oh no, Bynes was also seen lighting a driveway and her pants on fire. This all resulted in her being placed into a psychiatric clinic and being diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Bynes says that since her breakdown she's gotten better and wants to return to the limelight, but honestly I think it's best that she sits this one out. Sliding it at number 5, Azalea Banks. Woo woo! We have another angry Twitter alert. Miss Azalea Banks, come on down, you're the next contestant on Twitter Feud. But no, seriously, Azalea Banks ended her own career when she started tweeting at Zayn Malik, claiming that he was stealing her music ideas. She was also caught making some seriously racist remarks at Malik, and man oh man did she make me want to clutch my pearls. But that's not the only time she's had beef online. She's also been seen feuding with ex-Disney star Sky Jackson, as well as sending her homophobic energy to Perez Hilton. Now, even though she's faced backlash for like all of her tweets, she just keeps on sending them. Sounds like someone we know, wink wink. With all of her bad vibes online, almost everyone has lost respect for her, and I don't blame them. Like my mother always said, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything. At number 4, we have Meek Mill. Now chugging along the bitter Twitter train, next stop, Meek Mill. Remember him? Well, his downfall began when he challenged the King of the North, Drake. In this heavily one-sided argument, Meek began dissing Drake, claiming that he didn't write his own music. This all started because Meek was salty about Drake not promoting his newest album. Talk about P-E to the T-T-Y. Drake fans soon followed up, as fans often do, and roasted the crap out of Meek. The two artists then went against each other and they released music subtly and not so subtly dissing one another, and obviously Drake won. Meek lost that fight bad, since basically the whole world was on Drake's side. Bottom line, don't be petty, guys. Number 3, Paula Deen. Once everyone's favorite southern butter-loving mom, Miss Paula Deen's deep-fried empire burnt to a crisp, as people soon found out that she's actually pretty racist. The scandal broke back in 2012 when Miss Paula was sued by a former general manager of one of her restaurants, where he alleged that she had frequently used the N-word. As if that's not bad enough, she also wanted to stage a southern wedding with black men playing slaves. Slaves! Paula, why? And you know what's even the cherry on top of this racist pie? She never denied a thing. See, normally when a celebrity gets caught red-handed, they at least try and come up with excuses or lie about it, but no, not Paula. She's like, yeah, no, I did it. Whoops. Anyway, since this all blew up in her face, she's basically been shunned by most of the public, although she did appear on a season of Dancing with the Stars after her scandal. Why? I haven't a damn clue. Closing in at number 2, Bill Cosby. I think we all know what's going on with Mr. Cosby show right here. But for those who don't know, Bill Cosby has been making some poor decisions for quite some time. But none of them have really come back to bite him until recently. Cosby has been under fire for various assaults over the years, many of which have been dealt with quietly, which is basically Hollywood speak for paid off. But recently, many victims have come forward to fight Cosby and have their stories heard. This case has been in the courts for a while, but luckily the victims won and Cosby will be sentenced to 10 years in prison. The now 83-year-old will be in prison until he reaches his 90s, and oh man, that's gotta suck. Imagine living out the rest of your years behind bars. This is why you don't hurt others. Just be like me, stay as far away from the human population as possible and nothing will go wrong. And finally at number 1, Kanye West. Now, I'm gonna start off by saying, yes, I know Kanye's still around, he's still popping off, however, let's just look back at the last few years and I'll let you decide. First, let's talk about his little stunt with Taylor Swift at the VMAs. Very cringeworthy. Some believe it was an Illuminati initiation, but bro, I don't know. Next, we've got his Twitter feud with Wiz Khalifa back in 2016. Also an ugly moment. And we also have Kanye's undying love for President Trump. Furthermore, we have his more recent election campaign. Now, between all of this nonsense he's been previously cancelled for, his career seems to be going okay-ish? Now you're probably thinking, Brie, he's still going, he's fine, his career isn't dead. Well, I have one reason for that, dear viewer. He won't let it die. Kanye is a little too far gone for him to realize that his career is plummeting, so he's just pretending like everything's fine. Like the wise words of Confucius, fake it till you make it. Now, after his years of controversy, is there a way for him to redeem himself? Probably not, but hey, he's trying.
In at number 10, Robert Downey Jr. At this point, it's pretty common knowledge that RDJ had a history of drug addiction, but what most people don't realize is that his issues all began at 6 years old. His father was a filmmaker and drug addict who gave his young son a joint to smoke at the age of 6. Downey claims that he was surrounded by drugs as a young child and often used drugs as a way to bond with his troubled father. He believed that when they did drugs together was his father's way of expressing love for him in the only way that he knew how. He nearly ended his acting career though after being arrested several times for possession of cocaine, heroin, and marijuana use before spending a year in prison in 1999, which meant the cancellation of several acting jobs. Director Jodie Foster even caught him doing coke on the set of her movie called Home for the Holidays. She begged for him to get help, but Downey would continue to spiral out of control. After struggling even more with drug abuse between 2001 and 2003, Downey finally was able to kick the habit through a combination of the 12-step recovery program, meditation, yoga, and martial arts training. In at number 9, Vanilla Ice. Way back in 1999, before Jon Stewart was the host of The Daily Show, he was hosting a program on the the set of MTV called MTV's Lame 25. On the show, the host would typically make fun of different music videos that had already aired on MTV, and then they would destroy the tape. I don't know why, it was just their thing to do. On one episode in particular, rapper Vanilla Ice came in at number 9 with his song Ice Ice Baby. The rapper was in the studio at the time of the criticisms, and he was planned to take to the set with a baseball bat and break the tape of his own song as per MTV's request. However, things didn't exactly go as planned. The jokes and comments must have really started to bug Vanilla Ice because he didn't just break the tape. Vanilla Ice took that baseball bat to the entire set, smashing everything and scaring everyone in the process. Luckily, he was able to bounce back from this meltdown by reinventing himself as a DIY superstar on different home improvement networks. How ironic would it be though for MTV to call Vanilla Ice and have him build them a new set? That'd be pretty great. I'd love to see that. In at number 8, Alec Baldwin. It is a well-known fact that actor Alec Baldwin has gotten into trouble several times after his interactions with the paparazzi. There's no doubt that these creepy photographers do invade the personal space of celebrities, but that being said, violence has never made them leave you alone either. Baldwin has been at the center of several cases where he was accused and literally photographed physically attacking photographers. The first accusation was in 1995 when he reportedly punched a paparazzi so hard that he broke the man's nose. However, in all of these incidents, Baldwin was never charged. Baldwin had another crazy meltdown on an airplane after a flight attendant asked him to turn off his phone so that they could take off. The actor made a big stink and even tweeted more about his meltdown, saying, "Flight attendant on American reamed me out for playing Words with Friends while we sat at the gate not moving." That is a meltdown indeed when it ends up on Twitter. In at number 7, Cher. Okay, serious question. Does anyone know who Cher is? I mean, she is really showing how out of touch she is with her constant Twitter meltdowns and odd use of emojis as punctuation. I'm sure she's very talented to have gotten that little blue check mark, but one thing's for sure, she definitely doesn't know how Twitter works. She tweets out random things that look like if a pocket dial was a tweet, and sometimes she just says hi. And other times she just tells her fans about her technology freezing up because she's too much of a diva. Cher, if you're having issues with your iPad, you need to go to the Apple store. My favorite meltdown moment though was when she had to defend her tweets about Senator Ted Cruz. She says, "Sorry, had a meeting." Didn't need to know that. Regarding all caps on tweets about Ted Cruz, they weren't excitement, they were anger. Okay, well, maybe if you had used more emojis, we would have known that. Come on, Cher. In at number 6, Tom Cruise. It was the couch jump that truly rocked Hollywood and a side of the action hero Tom Cruise that we had never witnessed before. In short, it was a meltdown over passion for his newest love interest, Katie Holmes. At the time, Tom Cruise was one of the biggest celebrities in America, and he was already an established leading man with roles such as Top Gun and Jerry Maguire under his belt. He was appearing on the Oprah Winfrey Show though to promote his upcoming movie, which was Steven Spielberg's remake of War of the Worlds. However, instead of staying on script to his promo material, he could not stop gushing over his new girlfriend. Within 15 minutes of the interview, Tom had leapt onto Oprah's couch as Oprah struggled to find the words for his over-the-top infatuation. I think she just kept yelling, "He's gone. You're gone. This guy's crazy." In the moment, it was this very heartwarming thing to see though, but in hindsight, people watching that clip maybe through a GIF or just a series of photos, it looks like Tom is acting at a school for an interview, so by all accounts and without hearing the audience's reaction, this was categorized as one of Tom's biggest TV meltdowns, but he was just really happy. In at number 5, Jabbar Gaffney. Upon seeing these bizarre series of tweets from Washington Redskins wide receiver Jabbar Gaffney, even the Washington Post described it as a Twitter meltdown. I'm not even going to read them all out because they are definitely not safe for work, but let's just say he used a ton of foul language to get his points across. What happened was that Gaffney was going through a divorce, and we only really knew that because he made it all public. Like, all of it. He tweeted about waking up on the day of his anniversary and not being able to find his soon-to-be ex-wife anywhere. He followed that up by saying he can't wait for the divorce to be finalized. He also must have been getting angry with the replies to those tweets because everything after that was about how he was now going to steal your girl, and that if you see him, you should tell him what you were going to say to him in the comments to his face, which, by the way, do not do that. If you see this guy, do not approach. In at number 4, Russell Crowe. Back in 2005, Russell Crowe was in Australia to promote his film that he had coming out. Shortly after 4 o'clock in the morning, Russell was having a difficult time trying to call his wife. So with his room phone not working, he went down to the concierge to use theirs. Crowe then got into an argument with the concierge, which led to him picking up the desk phone and throwing it out of anger and frustration. Unfortunately, in the process of doing this, the phone actually struck the hotel worker in the face. He was then arraigned on charges of 2nd-degree assault and 4th-degree criminal possession of a weapon. By the way, the weapon was the phone that he threw. The Oscar winner then pled guilty, and the judge gave him a conditional discharge, which essentially means that he can't be arrested in Australia ever again. In at number 3, Kevin Smith. After After being kicked off of a Southwest Airlines flight, Kevin Smith went on an absolute Twitter tirade, which is really the only way to sum up what it was. Kevin tweeted out, "Dear at Southwest Air, I know I'm fat, but was Captain Lasath really justified in throwing me off of a flight for which I was already seated? Come on, Kev. No one could possibly throw you." This tweet forced the airline into apology mode because, well, Kevin Smith has a ton of followers, so when he tweets something out like that, you can be damn sure Southwest was getting a lot of angry mob mentality tweets sent their way. Smith went on to say things like, "Wanna tell me I'm too wide for the sky? Totally cool, but fair warning folks, if you look like me, you may be ejected from Southwest." Now, I'm not defending Southwest Airlines booking guidelines for, as they say, customers of size, which outlines that if you can't lower both armrests when seated, you gotta go. I'm purely pointing out that maybe this wasn't the best way to handle the situation, on both ends. In at number 2, Britney Spears. The mid-2000s were certainly not kind to pop sensation Britney Spears. From a bitter divorce to having a very public meltdown, it was only a matter of time before she had her run-in with the law. In 2006, she was driving with her 4-month-old son on her lap when the police pulled her over, which is very illegal, by the way, yet because she's Britney Spears, there wasn't even a fine. Then just a year later, she was charged with a hit and run while also driving without a license. Initially, she was looking at a year in prison for this, but again, she ended up not even spending a minute behind bars. It really is a mystery how she was able to pull herself out of this downward spiral, but what's really concerning is how she managed to escape the law. Fame should definitely not exclude you from the repercussions of doing something illegal. Last but certainly not least, our number 1 spot, Michael Richards. Michael Richards is known for his role as Kramer on Seinfeld. He's funny on that show because he literally had Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David writing for him, the two funniest people in the world. Although, when the show ended, Kramer thought that he could just transition into stand-up comedy and be just as funny. Unfortunately, when his set was not going well at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood, he completely lost his mind and just buried his career. Someone heckled him, I guess, and then he went on to a tirade by screaming racial slurs and attacking the audience. It was so bad that a large majority of the crowd just up and left the club in the middle of his act. He was never able to redeem himself after this racist rant, and it will serve as a stark reminder that Kramer was never cool.
Every time I see this backdrop, I think about Kramer f***ing up.
We're kicking off this list number 10 with Lana Del Rey. She's normally not the type to get involved in Hollywood drama, but in 2020 she actually caused some of it. She randomly posted a lengthy Instagram post where she called out other artists, saying that they are successful because they sing sexual lyrics and wear no clothes. In her post, she called out Ariana Grande, Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, Doja Cat, and Beyonce. She literally just went after all of them. Fans started calling her out for putting down other female artists and writers, and other celebrities even defended the artist that she mentioned in her post. People took the post very seriously and started to call her racist since she named mostly black women in her caption. But Lana responded saying it had nothing to do with race. Things got so heated that Ariana even unfollowed her from Instagram, and then Lana did the same thing. I guess she will not be collabing with any of these ladies anytime soon. Which is funny because she actually just collabed not that long ago with Ariana Grande and Miley Cyrus for Don't Call Me Angel. What the heck? Moving on to number 9, we have J.K. Rowling. If you don't know who she is for some reason, she is the famous author behind the iconic Harry Potter series. It's not common for authors to make tabloid headlines for stirring the pot in Hollywood drama. But she lost a lot of respect from fans this year after she sent out some tweets that came across as transphobic. She was talking about gender and sex, and one of her tweets said, "If sex isn't real, there's no same-sex attraction. If sex isn't real, the lived reality of women globally is erased. I know and love trans people, but erasing the concept of sex removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. It isn't hate to speak the truth." That was just one tweet, but she actually posted a very long blog about her views, and many people were in disagreement with her. Even Harry Potter himself, Daniel Radcliffe, made a public statement saying that he did not agree with her words. Cruising into number 8 is Khloe Kardashian. The Kardashian sister pissed off a lot of people recently when she posted an Instagram photo that was hella photoshopped. Probably the most intense Photoshop I have ever seen. Now, celebrities photoshopping their photos is not uncommon, but this really crossed the line, and we only realized it after someone pointed it out. Turns out that Khloe had filmed Keeping Up with the Kardashians the same day that she posted the photo, and the side-by-side comparison is actually insane. As insane as how that came out of my mouth. It literally looks like two completely different people. People were only mad because the overkill on the Photoshop was so unnecessary. She honestly looks beautiful in the interview in the episode. Fans also didn't like that she is setting such an unrealistic example of beauty standards for her millions of fans. I mean, honestly, with this whole Photoshop thing, when is it considered going too far? Like, this one was actually, it was insane. What app did you even use to do that? It's nuts. In spot number 7 is Hartley Sawyer. The Flash actor was fired in June after some of his old tweets resurfaced and contained racist references. The tweets came from before he joined the CW series, and in some of them he referenced sexual assault and also used racist and homophobic language. His Twitter account was quickly deleted, but the internet had a hold of these tweets and screenshots surfaced all over the web. Executive producer Eric Wallace released a statement saying, "Hartley Sawyer will not be returning for season 7 of The Flash. We do not tolerate derogatory remarks that target any race, ethnicity, national origin, gender, or sexual orientation." Hartley did issue an apology over Instagram where he said his words were unacceptable and that he regrets them deeply and is ashamed of himself. Sliding in number 6 is Abby Lee Miller. She is known as one of the toughest dance instructors on the show Dance Moms, but her teaching days are now over after she was accused for being racist. Despite the fact she overcame a battle with cancer and was ready to reboot the show, it was cancelled just a few months ago after some things came to light. Several former Dance Mom stars came forward with allegations saying that she was racist and never gave black choreographers on her show acknowledgement for their work. Not to mention, she would often dress up the girls in afros when they would do cultural dance pieces. Tons of claims were posted online of different racist things that apparently she said during her career, and she did issue an apology. She wrote, "I realize that racism can come not just from hate but also from ignorance. No matter the cause, it is harmful and it is my fault." However, her apology was not enough and Lifetime cancelled her show. Halfway through the list, number 5 is Dia Nugent. The MTV star was in the prime of her career starring on the reality competition show The Challenge when she made some racist comments online and lost everything, literally within a day. The show was actually airing when it happened, so it was really awkward when MTV had to release a statement saying that they were going to re-edit some scenes and cut her out as much as possible for the remainder of the season. It happened just a few months ago in June during the Black Lives Matter movement. She posted some tweets that seemed very insensitive to black lives, and when people called her out, she responded with, "I don't know why some of you people think I'm anti-Black Lives Matter. I've been saying that since the day I lost my virginity." Very classy. MTV cut all ties with her and said they do not tolerate racism. Stealing our number 4 spot is Ellen DeGeneres. It's hard to say where her controversy all started because it all happened very fast. People started posting online saying that she was not as nice as people think she is, and the next thing we know, her entire show and company is being investigated for mistreatment in the workplace. There were even some sexual harassment allegations, and 2 of her executive producers got fired during the investigation. Things started to surface after famous makeup artist Nikki Tutorials went on her show for an interview and then exposed her for not being very polite. From there, more people started coming forward with claims, even one of her former bodyguards. All of the accusations are word of mouth, so we don't have definite answers, but the investigation is ongoing, and Ellen did issue an apology and said that she was sorry if she has hurt anyone in any way. She also just announced that her show will be returning soon and that she will be addressing everything on her show. I'm like anxious waiting for that. Boo. I would not want to go in front of the world and apologize. That'd be scary. In the 3rd spot is Janelle Evans. She rose to fame through her journey with MTV on the show 16 and Pregnant, and then Teen Mom 2. Some people would say she was living the dream, gaining money and fame from an MTV show being her main career. But then she was fired from the show after she defended her husband, who was facing heat for saying homophobic remarks. Her husband was actually fired first, but she fought with MTV to have him back on the show, which they declined. Things got even worse when it was revealed that he actually had killed their family French bulldog after it allegedly tried to bite their daughter. MTV ended up announcing that they were cutting ties with her, and in 2020, she just started her own YouTube show on her personal YouTube channel where she basically just slanders MTV and everyone involved with the show. So she won't be working with MTV anytime soon. And that's kind of all she had. No offense. I've watched her for years, but dope. Taking over the number 2 spot is James Corden. The comedian and talk show host started getting attacked after people said he was worse than Ellen and claimed he isn't as nice as he appears to be on TV. When rumors started spreading that he was going to replace Ellen on her show, people were pissed and started posting reasons why he should not fill the position. If that wasn't enough, part of his own talk show got ridiculed after fans found out that one of his famous segments, Carpool Karaoke, was fake. Fan posted a video to Twitter saying, "Saw James Corden and Justin Bieber filming Carpool Karaoke, and this is why I have trust issues. He isn't even driving." People were furious and said that it completely ruins the segment now, but his producers responded saying that they have to do that sometimes for safety issues. They claim that he does actually drive the car sometimes. I'll don't be fooled. The whole point is that he's actually driving. Now it's like I'll never know if he's driving or not, and that's so annoying.
Hey, sometimes.
The car was being pulled, like literally, so he's like just sitting there being like, pretending to drive. Oh, I'm pissed. In the number 1 spot is Kanye West. This year has been a tough one for Kanye, and it seems like he is really struggling with his mental health, so it's hard to say where things went downhill. Some have claimed that it was the moment he said he was running for president. It was at his presidential campaign rally when he started having a meltdown and started saying erratic and bizarre things. Not long after that, he went online and started to claim that his wife Kim Kardashian was cheating on him and said that she and her family are all white supremacists. A lot of serious claims came through his tweets, and just a few days later he tweeted out an apology to her. His actions have cost him though, because the Ohio Supreme Court just announced that they ruled against him getting on the presidential ballot. This of course came after it was revealed that he had already spent $5 million self-funding his campaign so far. Should have just stuck to music.
In at number 10, Nicki Minaj. Let's start this point off by reading the tweet itself. "I put my blood, sweat, and tears in writing a dope album only for Travis Scott to have Kylie Jenner post a tour pass telling people to come see her and Stormi. I'm actually laughing, #Queen, broke the record of being number 1 in 86 countries. Thank Jesus and thank you to my fans." Essentially, Nicki Minaj was blaming everyone for her record not doing well while also saying how well it did, kind of like a female Donald Trump. After saying that the only reason Travis Scott could sell tickets was because of Kylie, she also took shots at Spotify and Drake for conspiring against her. A little over 15 minutes later, she tweets this: "Spotify put Drake's face on every playlist but told me they'd have to teach me a lesson for playing my music 10 minutes earlier on Queen Radio, even though they've been giving away my music for free for years and I am one of the top Spotify artists of all time." Sure you are. In at number 9, Lindsay Lohan. Who would have thought that Lindsay Lohan could bring together the United Kingdom through Twitter? Oh yeah, no one. No one thought that ever. However, kudos to her for trying. She tweets, "I love the Shetlands, BBC News, thank goodness we have pure-hearted people on our side." Then about an hour later, she tweets out, "Workplace fatalities in the UK have reduced by half since European safety directives were introduced in 1996. Then came the tweet that made the entire UK laugh as a collective. Lohan tweeted, "#Remain. Sorry, but Kettering, where are you and why is this woman at BBC News speaking on people rather than telling us what happens if UK leaves?" Yes, that is an American actor, Lindsay Lohan, spouting off about another country's politics for which she knows nothing about. Great work, Lohan. Great work. I'm sure they were all waiting on your hot takes before making a decision. In at number 8, Heidi Montag. Alright, let's begin with the meltdown, shall we? In 2010, the Hill star Heidi Montag tweeted, "P.S. I have no friends. The ones who are pretending to be friends or family are crazy, angry, broke, and bitter. This is why they haven't been in my life for years. Liars." All caps. So you know she's being serious. For those of you who don't know, Heidi suddenly got a ton of plastic surgeries that drastically altered her appearance. Before this tweet, she had already been going off about her recent decisions, mainly because a lot of other castmates from the Hills and even her family started to kind of distance themselves from her, which prompted this series of meltdown level tweets. She also would go on about how her family is trying to make money off of her, which only further isolated Montag from her friends and family. Kinda, you did it to yourself. In at number 7, Nicolas Cage. Back in April of 2011, Academy Award-winning actor Nick Cage was arrested in New Orleans on 1 count of domestic abuse and 1 count of disturbing the peace. According to the local police, Cage was witnessed arguing with his wife in front of their home around midnight. Police say that Cage grabbed his wife by her upper arm and dragged her towards their property. He then apparently began to strike cars in the immediate vicinity and even attempted to jump into a taxi when the police arrived. At that point, the police immediately observed that Cage was heavily intoxicated, and so they ordered him out of the cab, which prompted Nick to start yelling. Cage allegedly started yelling, "Why don't you just arrest me?" to the police, which is exactly what happened next. However, even though Nick was taken into custody and charged, his wife apparently did not want him charged and said that there was no actual physical contact between them during the fight. Regardless, still a meltdown. In at number 6, Victoria Jackson. When Obama had won re-election, conservatives around America were devastated. Actually, devastated may be taking it too lightly. They full-on had meltdowns online. Victoria Jackson was one of those Republicans that did not care for the result, and so the SNL alumni began this Twitter tirade. She tweets, "Thanks a lot, Christians, for not showing up. You disgust me." Then she says, "The Democrat Party voted God out and replaced him with Romans 1. In the good versus evil battle, today, evil won." Okay, crazy pants. She went on like that for a few more tweets, with even more strange ones saying America died and that she can't stop crying. Needless to say, she was mercilessly mocked for these tweets and ended up being kind of wrong. In at number 5, Ted Nugent. aka Uncle Ted. He initially became a celebrity when he was the lead guitarist for the Amboy Dukes. If you don't know that band, well, it's because they originally formed in 1963 and mainly played psychedelic rock. So at 71 years old, people hardly remember that's why he became a celebrity. Now he's mostly known for being a wild old nut that's very conservative online. The Nuge really started to show his true colors after President Obama took office. This drove the Motor City Madman insane, leading to this celebrity Twitter meltdown moment. He starts by saying, "So Obama still demands the hardest workers provide for the non-workers? Shared opportunities, my." He then, 2 minutes later, says, "What subhuman varmint believes others must pay for their obesity, booze, cell phones, birth control, abortions, and lives? Varmint? Varmint, Ted? Your southern side is really showing." He caps it all off with another tweet saying, "Good luck, America, you just voted for economic and spiritual suicide, soulless fools." Wild stuff, and for whatever reason, I can't take someone seriously that makes that many spelling mistakes. Sorry, Nuge. In at number 4, 50 Cent. 50 is without a doubt a rap megastar and business mogul, although that doesn't necessarily mean that everything he tweets out will be just as good. The diamond-selling rapper has had many Twitter meltdowns in the past. The first most notable one, though, was in 2010. He tweets, "Okay, I'm in the studio and I think I just smoked crack, and I'm crying because I'm not gonna stop. Can anyone help me? LOL." Alright then, that's one way to deal with a drug problem. 2 years later, he was using Twitter to just question his time on Earth and really frighten his fans. He starts his meltdown by saying, "I have lost all of the faith in the team I'm on. I have nothing left to say. I will not be promoting my music." He would then take it even further, saying, "I'll be honest, I don't think I'm gonna live much longer. That's why I started my Street King movement." 8 years later, and he's doing just fine. If anything, he was using the threat of ending his life to get his music promoted, which is, if that's the case, that's really gross, 50. In number 3, Michael Jackson. That is the king of pop hanging his baby blanket, yes, the baby's name was Blanket, out of a hotel window, Lion King style. This guy consistently buried his controversies by just manufacturing new ones. He was blasted by everyone online, calling him reckless and pointing out that he could have easily dropped his child in that moment. And here was his vague apology.
Any child. Try to kill them? Come on, stupid. And why would I put a scarf over the baby's face if I was trying to throw him off the balcony? We were waiting to thousands of fans down below.
For someone that was called the king of pop, you would think that he would be able to keep his cool, although these moments clearly show a celebrity that was out of control and, in Michael's case, in desperate need of help. In at number 2, Jose Canseco. Unfortunately for this one, the tweets themselves are no longer available, and for good reason. The disgraced roid-raging former baseball player is often pretty wild on Twitter, but while ranting about his ex-wife, he went way too far. After not liking some of the comments that his ex said to him over a phone call, Jose went on an all-day celebrity Twitter meltdown. Not only did he tweet out her phone number, but he tweeted openly about her favorite narcotic and tips on how to get her in the sack. All of those tweets were taken down the following day, but it was far too late for Jose Canseco. That was enough to not only do in whatever career he had, but essentially his entire reputation, which, suffice it to say, wasn't the best to begin with. Last but not least, in our number 1 spot, Lady Gaga. In 2013, Lady Gaga was sick and tired of what the press was saying about her, but the way she handled it was a little too cringy. In an attempt to own what her critics were saying about her, Gaga tweeted the following tirade. She begins with, "Lady Gaga is fat now," then adds the hashtag, "do what you want with my body," which, coincidentally, is a song of hers. That would have been a perfect if she had to just come full stop right there, but she just kept going on and on and on with several more tweets and language far beyond what her fans ever expected.
Beginning our countdown, number 10 is Max Ehrich. In recent months, the young and the restless actor is better known as Demi Lovato's fiance, or should I say ex-fiance. The two of them were only together for a few months when they announced their engagement, and from the outside looking in, they seemed like nothing would break them apart, especially anytime soon. But after just a couple months of being engaged, reports started surfacing that the two of them have split, and Demi deleted their photos off her Instagram, including their engagement photos. It all started after screenshots surfaced of him messaging Demi's friend, Selena Gomez, which was confirmed to be fake. But tons of screenshots have shown that Max used to be obsessed with Selena and would always post about the two of them getting married and other fangirl comments like that. And this was just 2 years ago, by the way. Now, according to him, they haven't actually had the official split because they haven't seen each other, but Demi has yet to comment on this, and it looks to me like it's pretty much over after people learned that he was once a crazy stalker fan. You guys, he even tweeted a photo of Demi and Selena and said that Selena was prettier than Demi. Like, how do you possibly marry that? It's humiliating. Oh, what an idiot. Up next, number 9 is Hilary Duff. I personally don't think her career will ever fully be destroyed because she's never had a very scandalous career in the first place. But she did something recently where people said she went too far and they slammed her vigorously online. It all started after she posted a nude photo of her 8-year-old son Luca on her Instagram. Reports started claiming that she was involved in this crazy sex trafficking scandal. Her Instagram story showed postcard-sized snapshots of Luca in his childhood, and one of them was him nude, and he had white markings all over his body. This is what people claimed anyway. Very disturbing claims surfaced saying that she was trying to sell her child, and even claimed that her ex was trying to get custody of her son for years. Hilary of course denied the claims and called them sickening, which I agree, but people still didn't think it was right for her to post a nude photo of a child online in the first place. I understand how that could be seen as irresponsible, but trafficking her son, I think that's a little bit much. Coming in hot at number 8 is Chris Evans. Does one lose their career if they post their own nude photo online? We are going to find out. It seems that Captain America isn't always a hero and also makes some mistakes too. The 39-year-old actor shocked fans when he started trending on Twitter recently for accidentally posting a picture of his goodies on his Instagram story. Apparently what happened was he posted a video on his story of him and his friends playing Heads Up, but then just moments after that, if you clicked through his story, you were greeted by a photo of his nude junk. The reports say photos, as in plural, which has me believe that there was more than one nude picture. People immediately took screenshots and he deleted it immediately after he realized, but by that point it was already too late. He ended up making a joke and urging people to vote since he had everyone's attention, but asked people to stop sharing the picture and respect his privacy since it was obviously meant to be private. Sniping our number 7 spot is Offset. I hate to be the one to say it, but once a cheater, always a cheater. People forgave him the first time he cheated on Cardi B, but only because she forgave him and stayed with him to try and work it out for their daughter's sake. But people aren't being forgiving this time around, and neither is Cardi. Fans were shocked when reports shared that she had filed for divorce recently. Everyone kind of guessed why they split since he's been known for his cheating, but a source confirmed it with People. The source came forward and said, Offset has pretty much cheated the entire time, but Cardi looked the other way because of the baby. She also didn't want to be embarrassed, but she's had enough. TMZ reported that Cardi filed documents asking for legal primary custody, but will amend them so that they can have joint custody and co-parent. The documents also say that she does not want any financial support from him. You might change your mind on that, but I like that. Moving on to number 6, we have Tana Mojo. The famous YouTuber was facing different allegations for racist behavior and ended up posting an apology video months later, but remained silent throughout it. She titled her YouTube video a long overdue apology, which everyone thought was the first thing that she should apologize for. Like the long overdue part. Despite it being a video that she hoped would end the controversy and help her move forward, she just received more hate for it. People said that she sounded like a robot and that there was no emotion in her words, which didn't seem like a sincere apology. They even called her out and said that she was reading from a script because in her video it does look like that and the edits are very choppy and quick. She ended up responding online saying that she came off emotionless because she didn't want to cry, but no one was believing her. It's hard to say where her YouTube career will go from here. She hasn't posted a video ever since. The video actually received 38,000 likes and 105,000 dislikes. Halfway through our list at number 5 is the Dolan twins. The twins have millions of fans around the world after they blew up on YouTube. But similar to most YouTubers, they too have landed themselves in the middle of controversy. Recently, people came at them after they posted a picture of them kissing each other on the lips. They captioned the photo saying, "If you don't even kiss your bros for small celebrations, are you even bros?" Fans started commenting on the photo, calling them disgusting, and also said it wasn't funny to make jokes about incest. But the point of the picture was actually to throw everyone off because it had to do with their new video coming out. They filmed a vlog where both brothers kissed their friend Ryan, and it was a joke for him to say who the better kisser was. But fans said how they edited their picture to make it look like they were kissing was called queer baiting because they used it just to get clicks, which they did. They got a lot of clicks. Cruising into number 4 is Joe Exotic. He may have thought 2020 was going to be his year, and in some sense it kind of was. 2020 was the year that the world came to know him, and he rose to fame after his Netflix docuseries came out, Tiger King: Murder, Mayhem, and Madness. But his career actually started and finished at the same time in a weird twist of events. He grew a fan base from the series after it was a massive hit, but he was already locked behind bars when it came out, so he couldn't even really enjoy his fame. The former zookeeper was sentenced to 22 years in prison for being involved in a murder for hire plot against his rival Carol Baskin. He hired someone and intended on paying them $3,000 to kill her. After he was sentenced, an investigation was done on his zoo, and it was confirmed that he had shot and killed 5 innocent tigers, as well as a horse which he used as meat to feed his tigers. Joe is sticking to his innocence though, and even wrote a letter to President Donald Trump requesting pardon, which didn't get anywhere. His zoo was also granted to his rival Carol Baskin, so he lost everything. Taking over our 3rd spot is Danielle Cohn. The TikTok star is facing tons of backlash after releasing a new song which people started to say she stole. Oftentimes, online influencers will turn to other forms of art like music and they start releasing their own. Danielle released her new song on her TikTok page and asked her fans to make videos to it. But then, the Twitter universe caught wind of her song and accused her of stealing one of Ashanti's classic songs, Foolish, and calling it her own. Danielle responded and said it was a cover song and that she never said it was her own, but her TikTok will prove that was not the case. She captioned it, "Make a TikTok to my new song," and the sound of the TikTok is even called Danielle Cohn Foolish. It's actually different enough for some people to believe that she actually wrote it herself, but those may not have been her intentions at all. Usually when people cover songs, they credit the artist they are covering and they call it a cover song, not their new song. Earning 2nd place on our list is Bella Thorne. Who knew making an OnlyFans account would cause this much chaos? Some fans were probably thrilled to learn that she was starting her own account and would release some exclusive and sexual content. When she shared the news, she also shared that she supports sex workers and joined as research for a role in a film that she was working on with Sean Baker. But he released a statement saying that her comment was false and that he is not attached to these claims or an upcoming movie about it. Fans and also other sex workers were furious when it surfaced that she made over $2 million in a week, which drastically hurt other sex workers and was also kind of a scam. Turns out OnlyFans had restrictions that fans are capped at paying only $100 for tips and pay-per-view posts at $50. Apparently, Bella was charging more. She ended up tweeting out a long statement and said she wanted to help and bring attention to the site and other workers who she supports. But that did not do any help. She probably put people out of business. In spot number 1 is Amber Heard. Let's be honest, we all know why she's on this list and why she is in our number 1 spot. Throughout all the chaos of her $100 million lawsuit with Johnny Depp, fans started a petition to have her removed from the Aquaman movie. And reports have alleged that she actually has been removed from the Aquaman 2 movie that is set to come out. Her career and reputation has been drastically destroyed to a point where her legal team is now trying to sue Depp for causing all of it. Her legal team is accusing Depp of making the petition and alleges that he hired bodyguards bot accounts online to troll her social media accounts and make her look bad. But fans have even come forward and admitted that they were the ones to start the petition, plus all the signatures would be a test to the fact that people really do want her gone. It's hard to imagine her career coming back from this when all is said and done with this lawsuit.
In at number 10, Chris Brown. Following a traffic accident where Chris Brown was accused by another driver of a hit and run, Brown decided his next best move was to defend himself on Twitter. First he says, "It's not a hit and run if you get out of the car, exchange information, who has no damage to either cars. This is really ridiculous." He then continues his Twitter meltdown by adding, "I have a valid driver's license and I gave the woman the right info. She saw cameras and wanted to make a scene." Yes, because I'm sure that was her first thought after you rammed into her with your car. He then goes on to tweet again saying, "She contacted the cops thinking of a payday from Chris Brown when I followed the proper procedures." I love that he starts speaking in the third person. That's how you know the wheels have truly come off. Also, he put that poor woman's license plate as his Twitter profile pic for a little while because, you know, doxing people really helps your case. Don't worry, Chris, we all know that even after you hit someone, your fans will still think you're innocent. In at number 9, Bow Wow. Not to go back to Chris Brown again, but it was Lil Bow Wow that threw him under the bus with this tweet. Bow Wow says, "I'm f***ed up. Oh damn, why I drive the Lambo? Chris might have to drive after next spot. Not so sure he should be your first pick. Maybe call a taxi, you know, like a normal person would." But Bow Wow is literally tweeting out how he was about to drive drunk on his Twitter feed. I mean, what a time to be alive. I miss when he was just Lil Bow Wow from Like Mike. Now, clearly this did not come without backlash, and soon we had a hungover Bow Wow tweeting his regrets. Apologize for that tweet, it was stupid and immature. Not a way I want to kick my hashtag 2010 year off. I got too much good stuff lined up, my bad. You know what, good on him. The last thing we would have wanted was him messing up his chances at starring in the movie Lottery Ticket. In at number 8, Perez Hilton. The queen of all media himself had a crazy Twitter meltdown back in 2009 when he got into a bit of a scuffle with Black Eyed Peas member will.i.am.
Yo, that's Perez! That's Perez!
Perez Hilton, being his usual disruptive self, decided to take a moment to cuss out will.i.am and say some pretty nasty stuff to him. He then started tweeting, "I was assaulted by will.i.am of the Black Eyed Peas and his security guards. I am bleeding. Please, I need to file a police report, no joke." Okay, well, Perez, if someone assaults you and you're bleeding, common sense would dictate that you would, I don't know, call 911. You can't rant on Twitter and hope that the local authorities are gonna see it and hit up your mentions. What universe is this guy living in? I mean, Will even got involved and made a video in response to what Perez had been tweeting about, and I mean, he should thank him for that. It's the most clout he's gotten in a while.
"I hit you, Perez? Come on, dude. I didn't hit you. I told you that I didn't like the fact that you disrespected us."
In at number 7, Adam Richman. Adam was once the host of Travel Network's Man vs. Food, although after his social media meltdown in 2014, he was replaced by the network real quick. It first started on Instagram when Adam posted about his recent weight loss saying, "Had ordered this suit from Seville Row Taylor over a year ago, think I'm gonna need to take it in a little," and then he uses the hashtag Thinspiration to cap it all off. What Adam was unaware of was how mad his followers were about to get from just seeing him use that hashtag. People went in on him and berated the TV host for not knowing that the hashtag was being used by many to promote anorexia and unhealthy eating habits. Adam, though, could have been much more chill in his response, but instead he just hit back 10 times harder. He began calling his own fans a number of expletives, and then even going as far as personally DMing his haters on Twitter just to take it a step further. In at number 6, Gary Busey. Gary is an actual nutjob. That being said, he was a very prolific actor. He's appeared in over 150 films such as Lethal Weapon, Predator 2, and Point Break. So in other words, he was big in the 90s. Now, with the age of the internet, Busey is trying to hang on to the times and stay relevant, although much like Cher, no one really understands what he's tweeting about. Thankfully, he's been sober for years now, but still, when you read these tweets, you gotta wonder, is he really sober? I mean, look at this tweet. Who invented the balloon? I don't know, Gary. Google it. Here's another great one. When you go to which mountain, don't fall in love. Okay. Bit of a cautionary tale, I guess. That's kind of helpful. Here's another one. If you have to fart, fart quickly, but keep your energy up. Buseyism for fart, feeling erectile transmission. Okay, Gary, that's enough for one day. Oh wait, whoa, we got one more. I'm a cartoon that talks. Sure you are, Gary. Okay, now back to your padded cell. The doctor will be with you shortly. In at number 5, David Hasselhoff. We all remember David Hasselhoff from his time on Baywatch, but in 2007 it seemed as though the Hoff had hit rock bottom. The weird part was that his daughter apparently filmed the whole debacle that ended up airing on the news. In the video, David was clearly drunk and apparently a little hungry. As he lay shirtless on the floor with his eyes beginning to shut, he does his best to pick apart a burger and feed it to himself, but the whole time he's doing this, Dave is just babbling in a drunken tone while falling over onto his food. In the video, you can actually hear his daughter Taylor begging him to grow up and even say, "You need to promise me you're not going to get alcohol tonight, okay?" Apparently Hasselhoff had asked his kids to film him anytime he falls off the wagon, I guess so that he can look back on it with shame and get his house in order. What a weird thing to make your kids do. In at number 4, Courtney Love. Speaking of taking things too far on Twitter, Courtney Love is the prime example of this. She is truly off her rocker. I guess Lana Del Rey had done a cover of Nirvana's heart-shaped box and Courtney wanted to set the record straight, even though no one asked her to. First of all, she mentions both Lana and Bryan Adams before saying, "Bryan, has anyone told Lana what heart-shaped box is about?" At Lana Del Rey again, "You do know the song is about my vagina, right? Throw down your umbilical noose so I can climb right back?" Is right. That is probably the craziest thing that I've ever heard. But wait, let's not forget there is one last Twitter meltdown moment where she says, "So next time you sing it, think about my vagina, will you?" Lol. What is wrong with her? Who says that? Like, think about my... Courtney? No. Just no. Someone take her off Twitter now. In at number 3, Tyrese. Now, although this mainly took place on Instagram and Instagram Live, I had to include it in the list because this meltdown was just heartbreaking to watch. Tyrese had found himself in the middle of a brutal custody battle with his ex-wife over their 10-year-old daughter. He took to social media though to share all of this. He admitted that Will Smith gave him $5 million to pay for his legal fees that Will Smith would later deny, and then his meltdown started to take a wrong turn. For whatever reason, he zeroed in on Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and criticized him for ignoring his text messages. In his post, he said, "If you move forward with that Hobbs movie, you will have purposely ignored the heart-to-heart moment we had in my Sprinter. I don't want to hear from you until you remember what we talked about. I'm on your timeline because you're not responding to my text messages. Fast Family is just that, a family. We don't fly solo." So clearly he was upset that The Rock wouldn't text him back, but getting mad that you weren't included in his movie is kind of selfish, dude. In at number 2, Alec Baldwin. I feel like I already trashed Alec Baldwin pretty hard on a different video, but hey, who says I can't do it again? I mean, he keeps saying crazy stuff on Twitter, so what's stopping me? Much like Kevin Smith, Alec too has had his fair share of troubling experiences while flying. He tweets out first, "Flight attendant on American reamed me out for playing Words with Friends while we sat at the gate not moving. Hashtag no wonder American Air is bankrupt." I love when people do massive hashtags like that. Like, who do you think is searching for that tag? He goes on to say, "United Airlines should buy Words with Friends, but oddly 30 Rock plays in flight on American." Then in another tweet he says, "Hashtag there's always United, last flight with American, where retired Catholic school gym teachers from the 1950s find jobs as flight attendants." That is so specific. Why, Alec? Just why? Okay. One last Twitter meltdown from Alec Baldwin. Now on the 3 o'clock American flight, the flight attendants already look smarter. I thought you just said that this was the last time you fly with American, and now he's back on the flight. I don't even know. On to the next one. Last but not least, at our number 1 spot, Miley Cyrus. It's been a long time since Miley Cyrus was with Disney, and ever since becoming a pop star in her own right, she has been adamant about proving her lack of innocence. Again, nobody asked for this. She says, "I lost a massive Walmart deal at 17 for ripping a bong." Then she just goes off in her own replies like, when did Twitter turn into celebrities confessing their sins? Like, go to church for that. She then adds, "I got kicked off of Hotel Transylvania for buying Liam a cake for his birthday and it. Alrighty then. I swung on a wrecking ball naked." Okay? And one last one because there's so many to choose from. "There are probably more nudes of me on the internet than maybe any woman in history." Well, that morphed into a humble brag real quick.
Kicking off our countdown at number 10 is Shia LaBeouf. He has had some rough patches in his career in the past, but 2020 may have been one of the worst ones yet. Near the end of the year, his ex-girlfriend FK Twigs sued him and accused him of sexual battery, assault, and infliction of emotional distress. Her lawsuit was filled with very serious claims saying that he hurts women and that he is very dangerous. Shia responded to the claims and admitted that he has been abusive towards himself and others in the past, but denies the allegations within the lawsuit. A lot of people aren't taking these claims lightly and are waiting to see what comes from the lawsuit in 2021. His lawyer recently released a new statement asking for the battery allegations to be dismissed. His team said the alleged conduct was reasonably necessary for his self-defense and/or safety. They want the case to be thrown out entirely and for him to actually be compensated for the claims and the defamation that it is causing on his career and reputation. Next up at number 9 is Lori Loughlin. Loughlin. I literally guess every time. One bad decision ended up with her being locked behind bars, and she's a celebrity that no one expected this from. In 2020, the Full House actress got herself sentenced behind bars from a case that actually started a year earlier. In 2019, she had been caught in a college admissions scandal where she paid $500,000 to forge test scores for her daughters to get an early admission. She wasn't the only one though. Both she and her husband were facing charges for conspiracy to commit mail fraud, money laundering, and bribery. All the charges followed them into 2020, and it wasn't until then that they were actually given their sentences. Lori was sentenced to 2 months in prison, given a $150,000 fine, 2 years of supervised release, and has to complete 100 hours of community service. It's hard to imagine what her career will look like once she is out. I personally just can't imagine it ever being the same. Sliding into number 8 is Harvey Weinstein. Let's be honest, he ruined his career a long time ago, but his massive scandal finally came to an end in 2020. His sexual harassment case started back in 2017 when the New York Times published a story detailing decades of allegations against him. Some of the terrible claims came from his employees, and some came from other actresses in Hollywood like Rose McGowan and Ashley Judd. Throughout 2017 to 2020, more and more allegations came to surface, and he of course started to lose his career and reputation, as he should. It was a long legal battle that was heavily documented, and people were waiting for him to finally get his sentencing. That moment finally came in 2020, and he is currently serving his 23-year term in prison. Sniping the number 7 spot is Lil Wayne. Speaking of jail time, this rapper almost faced some, but then he got pardoned. So we're still kind of waiting to see if his career will bounce back from it or not. I honestly have no idea. It wasn't his first time being in trouble with the law or behind bars, for that matter. What happened was he was found in possession of a handgun at an airport back in 2019, but he didn't get arrested for it until 2020. He was charged with 1 count of possessing a firearm and ammunition by a convicted felon. Yes, he is a convicted felon. He had felony charges from incidents that happened before this. He was out on bail and was waiting for a sentencing hearing on January 28th, 2021, and at that time he was facing up to 10 years in federal prison, but got saved by former President Donald Trump. Before he left the White House, he released a slew of pardons, and Lil Wayne was on that list. So there's a chance that his career will be okay, but he definitely has done some damage. Coming in at number 6 is Jada Smith. Personally, I think her career will be just fine, but it depends how emotionally invested you are with her relationship to husband Will Smith. 2020 was weird for them. They did an interview together, and the topic of Jada's affair came up. She had an affair with August Alsina years ago, but it started making headlines in 2020, and the couple went on Red Table Talk to talk about it. According to August, he and Jada had a romantic relationship with Will's permission. I doubt that, but that is not how it was explained by Jada and Will. She said that her and Will were separated at the time when she started dating August. She looks at the situation as being a big learning experience for her and something that made her marriage with Will stronger in the end. She said, "Through that particular journey, I learned so much about myself and was able to really confront a lot of emotional immaturity, emotional insecurity, and I was really able to do some deep healing." Fans were actually fuming and judged the situation very hard, making Jada the center of a lot of memes. I think that is between them and probably shouldn't affect her career, but a lot of people think it does. Halfway through the list, at number 5 is Carole Baskin. I mean, the debate on whether or not she killed her husband might be enough to end her career. It is actually still surprising to a lot of people that she even has a career after the Netflix documentary Tiger King: Murder, Mayhem, and Madness. After the documentary, no one expected her to skyrocket into fame the way that she did. She even landed a spot on Dancing with the Stars, and people were not happy about it. A lot of theories have come out on what really happened to her ex-husband, Don Lewis, ever since she was accused of murdering him, or at least knowing what happened to him. He just suddenly disappeared without a trace, and no explanation has ever been determined to this day. After Carole was eliminated from Dancing with the Stars, people online have said they hope she doesn't book anything like that ever again. I don't even know how she booked that in the first place. She's got a good agent. Rolling into number 4, we have Perez Hilton. Because he is the biggest celebrity blogger in the industry, he has had a very controversial career and has landed himself in trouble on a few occasions. But one bad decision ended with him being banned from the TikTok app in December of 2020. It happened out of nowhere after TikTok claimed his account was permanently banned because he repeatedly violated the app's rules. He tried to appeal the claims but was unsuccessful. He posted a YouTube video explaining his side of the story and said that he is devastated because he relied on the app in his career, but also that it was a big escape for him. He also admitted that some of his content has been flagged before for violating TikTok's rules against nudity and harassment, and also said he has been accused of bullying in some of his videos. So although he apologized and pleaded for his account to be reinstated, they would not do it. Taking over the 3rd spot is Belle Delphine. She has been in the hot seat many times for her sexual content, which many people don't agree with. So it's no surprise to her anymore when people try to cancel her. But things got really bad for her in November of 2020 when YouTube canceled her. Not the people, YouTube. Her YouTube account is a primary source of income for her and one of the biggest platforms in her career. So she was not happy when they terminated her channel without any kind of warning. She went on Twitter to publicly call out YouTube, saying it's not fair that her account gets striked for violating the sexual content policy, but music videos like WAP can be on the platform. She has a good point, in my opinion. But many people don't agree with her content being appropriate for this platform, especially because there are a lot of kids on YouTube. She ended up getting her channel back, but she is on very thin ice with them and had to make a lot of changes to her content, and a lot of her old videos were also flagged and taken down, so she can't make money off those anymore. In spot number 2 is Lea Michele. 2020 was not her best year. The Glee actress was exposed by some of her former co-stars who claimed that she made their filming experience a living hell. And it wasn't just some petty bickering, people were making claims that she had been racist towards them. It started with her former co-star Samantha Ware, who claimed that Lea threatened to go to the bathroom in her wig if she had the opportunity. After this tweet went absolutely viral, because that's disgusting, her other co-star Keith Power chimed in and said, "I co-sign on this. Lea Michele is a terrible human and has said terrible things to many different types of people, including racist aggressions to and about people." Lea didn't admit to any of these specific claims, but apologized for her behavior on set and said that she's done a lot of reflecting to become a better person. Her apology wasn't in person though, she actually typed it up on one of her Instagram stories. When it came to interviews about it, she always remained quiet on the subject. She would never just publicly apologize. Earning the number 1 spot is Meghan Markle. This one is up for debate right now, so it will depend on whose side you are on and what you believe to be true. Many people would say Meghan destroyed her career when she decided to walk away from the royal family last year. A lot of people didn't agree with her decision, but that was hers to make. In more recent times, she is facing a ton of heat right now after she and Prince Harry did an interview with Oprah where she exposed the royal family for being racist and cruel. Some of their claims were pretty serious, and Meghan revealed that they treated her so poorly to a point where she wanted to take her own life. Some people are defending her and her story, while others are calling her spoiled and privileged. It is very hard to say where her career will go from here. Everything is still very fresh and chaotic right now. Honestly, social media, that's all I'm reading about right now.